PS2 games weren't the only one released in November 19... PS2 games weren't the only one released in November 2000. Hi, I'm Nick, and this is Required Reading on Retro Games with Nick. Hello, folks, and welcome back to Required Reading for the Gamepro 146 issue. Last time we went through all of the PS2 games reviewed by the magazine, at least in their sort of standard review session. There's a couple more that are in the sports and the RPG sections of the magazine. So today, we're gonna read through the other console reviews and then the aforementioned sports and RPG sections. One quick thing to know about this particular recording. It had to eventually happen. This is my second time going through this particular required reading because I lost the original recording. And in the meantime, I actually did record the 60 Minutes to Sway episodes for the, essentially all the games that were in the regular review part of the magazine. So, I still think I want to try to avoid giving opinions based on what I've experienced, just because I don't want to spoil what happens in the 60 Minutes to Sway episodes that I've recorded. And B, we're here to read the magazine, so let's try and just go ahead and do that. So, to avoid having to scroll, I know that page 136 is where the reviews start. Starting with Medal of Honor Underground. When a game seamlessly immerses you in a setting, like Medal of Honor Underground does, you know you've found something special. Following the smashing success of last year's World War II shooter, Underground delves into the French Resistance and comes up with one of the year's best games. This war is beautiful. The first Medal of Honor starred OSS agent Jimmy Patterson, but Underground shifts focus to Manon, the operative who handled Patterson's mission briefings. Starting with her time fighting alongside her brother in the French Resistance, Underground follows Manon as the war progresses as she's recruited by the OSS to work missions in Northern Africa, Crete, Italy, and Méry, France. Underground's riveting sounds and graphics submerge you in these faraway locales. The amazing audio easily ranks among the best ever, featuring compelling ambient effects, like Nazis shouting propaganda over loudspeakers in the distance, or soldiers loading and firing artillery, that bring the levels to life. Stirring orchestral music, quality voice acting, and electrifying weapons effects also ratchet up the thrills. The graphics also rock. The driving distance is a little short in some of the daylight levels, but eye-catching scenery, which ranges from the French countryside to the streets of Casablanca and beyond, squeeze every last drop of 32-bit beauty out of the aging PlayStation. The highlight, though, is the killer animations. Surprisingly lifelike soldiers scramble for cover, jerk from the impact of bullets, frantically struggle to load their weapons, and much more. Lock and load. The gameplay is hardly a slacker either, sizzling with absorbing missions, furious firefights, and strong two-player deathmatches. Manon faces everything from marauding tanks and half-tracks to stealth infiltration in disguise as a Nazi propaganda photographer. As in the first Medal, DreamWorks' impeccable research shines through in the authentic historical details and logical progression of the missions. Infiltrate, complete objectives, exfiltrate, which makes the action feel seriously realistic. The awesome AI also returns to duty as the enemy takes cover and fights back with daunting ferocity. There is no cannon fodder here, just plenty of intense battles. New buddy NPCs, like Manon's brother or other undercover OSS operatives who help her out, also add an enjoyable twist to the action. Throughout it all, sleek controls keep you in the thick of battle as Underground makes solid use of the dual analog sticks to smoothly interface the player with the action. Highly decorated veteran. Fans of the first Medal of Honor will feel right at home with Underground, but the game also delivers enough new touches and surprises to prevent it from becoming merely a copycat sequel. All told, this excellent action game stands tall among the current wave of fall releases, earning every cent of its price tag. Run, don't walk, to enlist today. Graphics, 4.5 out of 5. Remarkable animations breathe life into these polygonal Nazis as they scramble for cover or twitch from their wounds. The draw distance is a tad short in some levels, but gorgeous scenery makes ample amends. Sound, 5.5 out of 5. Extraordinary audio amplifies Underground's thrills. The superb ambient sounds, voices, and weapon effects completely immerse you in the action, earning Underground the medal for the best sound in a console game. Control, 5 out of 5. Underground's controls are so smooth you don't notice they're there. That's kind of a stupid comment. The dual analog sticks respond flawlessly when moving, looking, aiming, and strafing, and the sniper views are excellent. Fun factor, 5 out of 5. Underground ranks as another masterpiece from DreamWorks and EA. Captivating graphics and sound combined with relentless additive action to deliver one of the year's best games. Yeah, alright, I was looking at the screenshots, but it feels kind of obnoxious when every screenshot is pro tip. If you're suddenly taking fire, quickly crouch to minimize your chances of being hit, and it's like, duh. When you reach the barn and ascend to the castle with no obvious way to proceed, look for the crawl hole behind the barn. And it's like, okay, I guess. Dino Crisis 2. And I will say, well, again, without spoiling what happens in the 60 Minutes This Way, I was not looking forward to this particular game. I am a big fan, as already seen on the channel, of classic Resident Evil. And I have very fond memories of the original Dino Crisis. And I was very incensed that they turned a survival horror into a straight-up action game. And so I have never touched this game before, at least before I did for the 60 Minutes This Way episode. So let's go ahead and read through the review. A warning to fans of the original Dino Crisis. The sequel, Dino Crisis 2, is radically different from its predecessor. Dino Crisis 2 replaces stealth and strategy with all-out action. You could almost describe DC2 as Resident Evil spliced together with Jurassic Park, and then injected with a huge dose of steroids. And again, I don't agree with this analysis. Like, Dino Crisis 1 is Resident Evil spliced together with Jurassic Park. This one is more like an action game, like a straight-up action game. There's no Resident Evil-ness in this. Dinos plus armed humans equals chaos. The meager ties between the two Dino Crisis games, one returning character and a plot that barely builds on the events from the first game, means that anyone can jump into Dino Crisis 2's shoestring narrative. Although Dr. Kirk landed in jail at the end of the first Crisis, his time travel experimental research fell under government supervision, i.e. imminent disaster. Soon enough, the facility conducting the research along with a small nearby town are warped to another time, so a rescue team is sent to fetch the valuable data. Unfortunately, everything lands in a dinosaur-infested prehistoric era where humans are the preferred menu selection. Right from the start, Dino Crisis 2 drops you into an action-adventure grinder set into the great outdoors. Courtesy of high-res, pre-rendered environments, like the first games and similar to those of Resident Evil and Parasite Eve 2, you'll trek through thick jungles, haul ass across narrow elevated waterway catwalks, try to keep your bearings in maze-like volcano caves, and even do some deep-sea diving. You'll do battle with over 10 types of dinosaurs who attack from land, sea, and air. And even a new big boy who towers over the Tyrannosaurus will want to dine on you. Bungle in the Jungle. Unlike the prior adventure, in which running away from danger was beneficial, Dino Crisis 2 forces you to be as ruthless as your adversaries. Encounters with prehistoric pests occur at every turn, and accelerating their demise means valuable bonus points that can be used to purchase better weapons, ammunition, and supplies. You can also earn bonus combo points by taking out several dinos consecutively, or counter points by shooting them at the apex of their attack. You'll be able to buy a wide variety of exotic arms, including dual machine guns, flamethrowers, and rocket launchers. Even if you run out of ammunition, you can still fight back thanks to a dual weapon system. Characters can equip 2 weapons simultaneously, while some weapons don't require ammunition, such as machetes and stun guns. Speaking of characters, apologies. Of course, the moment that I start recording, the very loud AC decides to get started. Oh. Speaking of characters, Dino Crisis 2 has 2 playable ones, Crisis veteran Regina and newcomer Dylan, whom you switch between at certain points. But Dino Crisis 2 isn't just a simple-minded run-and-gun fragfest, it's also rife with diversity. Manning a mounted cannon via its first-person view, you'll keep several charging Triceratops from smashing your ride, guard a teammate from a pack of attacking raptors, and take hair-raising turns guiding both characters through an Allosaurus's nest while delivering airstrikes. Top-notch production. Dino Crisis 2 has all the prime ingredients of a great action game. The sturdy controls respond perfectly. Characters are always on the run and can fire weapons while in motion. A handy auto-aiming feature allows you to confidently track multiple targets, and a 180-degree turn command lets you escape tight situations. The visuals provide a colorful eyeful. Oh, that's a bad sentence. The one drawback with such chaotic action, however, is the occasional slowdown decelerates on-screen events to a crawl. Yet, as with any well-made intense action flick, you'll overlook these shortcomings because you'll hardly have time to notice them. An excellent soundtrack provides essential audio cues such as rustling leaves before a raptor attacks, while well-cast voice talent makes for interesting, diverse characters. Solid evolution. Purist fans of the original Dino Crisis may balk at the sequel's emphasis on non-stop chaos. That's me! It's me! But action genre fans won't want to miss out on one of the most intense PlayStation titles of the year. Having a Crisis has never been this much fun. Graphics, 4.5 out of 5. The beautiful pre-rendered environments are detailed, characters benefit from excellent rendering, and the rendered cinema cutscenes are a plus. The only visual eyesore is the occasional slowdown when the action gets too intense. Sound, 5 out of 5. Dino Crisis 2's audio track is filled with excellent voices, atmospheric effects, and pounding music to make your heart race. Important but subtle audio cues are also perfectly intelligible. Control, 4.5 out of 5. Moving characters through the diverse terrain is a breeze, as is moving the cursor during first-person shooter sequences. Lack of a custom configuration shaves a half point off the score. Fun factor, 5 out of 5. Dino Crisis returns with more dinosaurs, weapons, and action. Dino Crisis 2 is a giant departure from the stealth-based original, but for an entertaining rumble in the jungle, it will be hard to top. Also, survival horrors are not stealth games. It's not, you're not trying to stealth things. It's resource management. I enjoy the fact that Gamepro looks at all sorts of different games. And I do think that when a game is bad, they will outright call it. I do wonder... I don't want to say how competent they are, but, Also, I assume that they do outsource some of these to, younger staff members or something, but... some shit saying, calling the first Dino Crisis a stealth pace original, it's have you played, fucking Thief? That's the stealth game. This is Dino Crisis or Resident Evil is not a stealth game. But anyway. Alright. Just cool screenshots. This is one thing that, because we get to just decide to boot up the game as soon as we're done playing or reading this magazine, we don't have to worry about so much. But back in the day, screenshots were a big deal. I'm not gonna do it because A, it would double the time of each of these episodes, and B, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do it, but you would peruse every single screenshot and look at how cool the game looked and try to get as much information about the game as you could, even if you were never planning on actually controlling it in real life. So that's just what fucking game magazines were like back in the day. Power Stone 2. Alright, continuing the PlayStation Pro reviews, we have Bomberman Party Edition. It took an eternity, but someone finally had the good sense to release the ultimate party game, Bomberman, for the PlayStation. Bomberman Party Edition features all the addictive multiplayer mayhem of its previous 8 and 16-bit incarnations, but its impact is slightly diminished by limited one-player games and inexplicably long load times. A blast. Bomberman's strength has always been the multiplayer matches, and Party Edition delivers the goods with intense, thumb-busting head-to-head competition. The game's premise is simple. Via an overhead view, you attempt to destroy opponents with a variety of bombs on diverse battlefields. But Bomberman can't live on bombs alone, so they utilize a plethora of power-ups, including riding kangaroos and other creatures. Solo players will find some one-player modes challenging, but the limited AI in this contest can touch the thrills of a multiplayer game. Bomberman thrives on its simplicity. Colorful 2D sprite graphics and a solid audio track get the job done, while perfect controls keep you in firm command of your character and never become frustrating. These elements hardly seem taxing for the 32-bit system, so why the long load time between each battle? You'll spend as much time watching loading as you will be blowing your friends to pieces. With 5 people eagerly awaiting the next match, the seconds seem like an eternity. Bombs away! Even with the long load times, Bomberman Third Edition is the quintessential multiplayer game no PlayStation gamer should be without. Getting bombed at home with 5 of your friends was never this fun. It was a budget game, to be fair. It was $20. Graphics 3.5 out of 5. Sound 3.5, control 5, and fun factor 4.5 out of 5. Alien Resurrection. Better late than never. The first-person shooter based on Alien Resurrection has finally arrived, and it's a step up from Alien Trilogy in many respects, especially control-wise. On the whole, though, it's just okay. Ripley, believe it or not. The first screen advises players that this game is best played in the dark. That's partly so you get into the creepy atmosphere of battling both humans and alien enemies through the wrecked, dirty USM Auriga, and partly so the lightning effects like electrical bursts and flickering bulbs scare the pants off of you. The textures and special effects are about as good as you can expect on the aging PlayStation, though the blocky character models look more like Legos than living beings. The game has no music, but that's fine since silence is scary. Eerie audio details include screams of victims and the film's trademark worldly pseudo-human computer voice. But why so few other speech bites? Alien Resurrection really goes the extra mile in controls. Not only are they entirely configurable, remappable, and tweakable, adjust your turning speed, invert the y-axis, etc., but the game also supports the all-but-forgotten PlayStation mouse, a great option for PC shooter fans. The only misstep, a constant, irritating DualShock heartbeat, can be turned off too. In space, no one can blah blah blah. Playing as 4 characters is nice, but the game could use more save points. Ultimately, Alien Resurrection is a fine first-person shooter, but unless you're a big fan of the films, there are even better options. Medal of Honor, Quake 2, out there. I don't know. It seems that this review is maybe a little unfair. Ratings, graphics 3.5, sound 3.5, control 4.5, fun factor 3.5 out of 5. I feel like this review, first of all, it feels like it's been cut. Right? I feel like there's like a whole other paragraph that we're kind of just missing. But the other thing is like, I don't know, to me, they're overrating the sound. Like, no music seems like you should get a worse rating than a 3.5. And they're undervaluing the I'm looking at these graphics and it's a PlayStation. These graphics look good for a PlayStation. If I can tell that this is a freaking alien, then it's an alien. But anyway, just consider it a somewhat mediocre game. Destruction Dare Be Raw. So a little story time personally. So my best friend back in high school was like the biggest fan of this particular game. It's a game that I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about. But my friend Ludovico was very big into like racing games at the time, like especially the Gran Turismo 1 and 2. And then for some reason, like all these like car destruction games were also very much in his wheelhouse. And so, boy, did he love this game. Folks, get ready for mayhem, mayhem, mayhem. Your insurance policy better be paid up when you hop behind the wheel in Destruction Derby Raw, the third installment in the Destruction Derby series. With awesome graphics, tight car physics, and a trunk full of game modes, Destruction Derby Raw is a wild ride that will strap you in for hours of fun. Smashy Smash. Smashy Smashy. When you see a course called The Reckoning, you know you're in for a good time. Destruction Derby Raw features 31 tracks, 17 cars with 7 bonus vehicles. I don't know if that means that the 7 bonus vehicles are included in the 17 or not. That's kind of ambiguous. And enough modes to last an entire weekend. Oh, that's it? Wow. I mean, I guess they're only advertising hours of fun in this review, and granted, there are hours of fun in a weekend, but gee. In true Destruction Derby tradition, it's all about causing major scratches and dents to your opponent's vehicles. You'll take your car through everything from a couple of laps to a battle arena where your sole purpose is to destroy other vehicles. Skyscraper mode is a special treat. In it, you'll battle other cars on top of a high-rise while trying to avoid plunging to your death. Sweet. Hey, watch the paint job! While the majority of the gameplay is arcade racing style, you'll appreciate the tight physics and the handling of the cars. Too much or too little steering will cause you to spin out. Fortunately, Destruction Derby Raw is forgiving, and with a little practice, you'll learn to snap your car's tail back into place. Meanwhile, the graphics portray realistic, smooth cars and tracks, but the audio is just standard futuristic techno rock with a decent car rumbling effects on the side. Destruction Derby Raw is ultimately a fine addition to the series, if not the best one yet. Let the destruction begin. Graphics 4, sound 3.5, controls 4, fun factor 4 out of 5. Okay, next up, Star Trek Invasion. First time I read through this magazine, I thought this was just called Invasion, and you really have to like squint to where's the zoom. You really have to squint to see the Star Trek logo like right above there, right? Not only is the Borg invading, but the Kamjati Raider, I assume it's Kamjati Raiders are also making their first appearance, giving the old Federation another reason to get into its war gear. Armed with phasers, a tractor beam, diverse torpedoes, and more, you'll play as Cooper, the pilot of a Valkyrie-class ship, more than 20 challenging, sometimes frustrating, missions. Invasion delivers the basic space shooter sharps. Graphics, weapons galore, 30 plus with even a decoy craft, varying mission, etc., but it definitely demands a certain piloting perfection. Star Trek Colony. The Invasion development team included members of the Colony Wars gang, so vets of the series should feel at home. Invasion includes the Colony series' basic control setup, its feel, and even its weird physics model, only more so. In fact, you'll find that zapping hostile crafts is akin to shooting at feathers being buffeted by a strong wind. Fortunately, you can lock onto your targets, and eventually you should get a handle on the chaos theory behind Invasion's AI. Worf Adorn's Invasion. Worf Adorn's Invasion? Okay. I think they're trying to make a pun, but I don't understand the pun. Star Trek fans new to this type of space shooter will also have reason to rejoice. Invasion's voiceovers are supplied by the real-life Worf and Captain Picard, Michael Dorn and Patrick Stewart. Plus, the graphics are nice, though some more interaction with the planetary environment would have been even nicer. When you accelerate, the landscape doesn't accelerate with you. The audio features music that's too repetitive and weapon effects right out of the TV series. Two Trekkies can also get together for some friendlier antagonistic multiplayer action. Invasion is an enthusiastic engage, and its story isn't up to Trek standards, but it does throw down the space shooting gauntlet to be picked up by fans wishing to expand their experience of the venerable franchise. And I believe that was the end of the PlayStation reviews. Yes. Moving on, Nintendo 64. The world is not enough. This addition to the Bond Pantheon should be more than enough for the fans of the eternal 007 and for all gamers who like optimal thrills. The world is not enough does such a superb job of recreating the ambience, tension, and excitement of its celluloid counterpart that the next time you watch the movie, you may blurt out, "I was there! The Bond adventure is mine!" The game is Control. Good Control. As in the film, Bond follows the path of some stolen money, encountering Elektra, Mr. M, Christmas Jones, Mrs. Hanneke Smith, anyone? And the most insignificant Bond villain ever, Renard. Your missions will include hunting a female agent, skiing and shooting, slinking and zapping, running and gunning, and generally causing chaos in locales such as London, Istanbul, and nuclear facilities as you steadfastly prevent the Western world from becoming icky. A few of the game's objectives, like defusing a bomb, are addition to the film's plot, its submissions are Nintendo 64 only. Thanks in large part to effective controls, the world is not enough performs superbly. Perfect Dark and GoldenEye 007 vets will be familiar with the control scheme, while newbies will require all of 5 minutes to master a configuration that is intuitive and complete, allowing you to jump, sidestep, and swap weapons with Connery-esque ease. There's even a multiplayer mode for up to 4 agents. Shaken with logic. The game's 20 plus levels are incredibly varied and immensely logical. Objectives make sense, sometimes changing on the fly, and the terrain lets the challenges unfold without you having to ask, how many bloody corridors are there? In this sense, The World Is Not Enough is reminiscent of Medal of Honor. The drama never lapses and the gameplay is incredibly fun. And like Medal, The World Is Not Enough doesn't have an AI that spawns dozens of enemies. The number is fixed at a comfortable skill level, which you can adjust. Plus, all the spy paraphernalia the Q-Bridge supplies, over 40 items, 20 of which are Nintendo 64 exclusive, has a clear purpose. Visually, The World Is Not Enough is satisfyingly realistic. The forest, alleyways, and chateaus provide the necessary graphical framework, having been engineered to conceal enemies and power-ups while supplying surprises at a well-scripted pace. And the character animations are suitably varied. Many of the faces from the film have been scanned onto their video game doubles, as I guess we can see on M right here in the corner. Cue legendary theme music. that's a cute pun. All the missions and even the load times falls with that great Bond beat. The sound effects are cinema quality. Each weapon sounds authentic, footsteps change depending on the terrain, and gadgets make gadgety chirps. The voiceovers are very good imitations of the actors on film, while ours, Q's understudy, is authentic, having been recorded by John Cleese exclusively for the game. Virtual Bond is back and The World Is Not Enough. Those who want to engage in dramatic espionage adventure with a fabled license to kill should waste no time acquiring the pulse-bonding 00 game. Graphics, 4 out of 5. Functional and pleasant. The graphics supply the necessary framework for the Bond feeling in the varying mission terrain. Sound, 5 out of 5. Incredible. Great weapon and gadget effects, classic Bond background themes, and excellent voiceovers make you feel like you're really in a 007 film. Control, 5 out of 5. Perfect Dark and GoldenEye fans will recognize the controller scheme, which is intuitive and complete. The configuration will become second nature for newbies too. Fun factor, 5 out of 5. Because The World Is Not Enough recreates the Bond experience so completely, you really feel like you're on Her Majesty's Secret Service. An amazing adventure with all the cool gadgets, weapons, and twists you'd expect. As I was reading this, I wonder how much GoldenEye 007 actually sort of like breathed a lot of like new life into the Bond franchise for like the newer generations. Like I think I'm trying to remember. GoldenEye is a special movie, and I think it was just very cool. And it being paired with like a fantastic Nintendo 64 game gave it, I think, a lasting power that probably for a lot of kids of my generation, the millennials, brought them into the Bond franchise. Like, I would not be surprised if you polled the millennials who have seen the James Bond movies, not even necessarily all of them, but like most of them, a lot of it is probably due to, like, it probably happened in like their teenage years, and it was probably starting because of GoldenEye. So it was just an interesting like thought experiment. Also, Nintendo 64 games like costing a lot more than PlayStation games. Yeah, like $40 for a PlayStation game, $60 for a Nintendo 64 game. Damn. Okay, continuing the Nintendo 64 Pro reviews, we have San Francisco Rush 2049. Previous San Francisco Rush games were frenetic, but ultimately frivolous arcade racers. Boasting extravagant graphics and newly revamped controls, Rush 2049 screams past its predecessors into the Nintendo 64's winner's circle. If you're searching for a comprehensive racing sim, you should look elsewhere. If you're out for high-flying Nintendo 64 fun, you should rush for Rush 2049. Rushmore. Rush 2049 includes the standard single race, circuit, ghost race, and practice modes. Though it boasts only 6 tracks, including 2 secret Nintendo 64 exclusive, the reverse and mirror track configurations bolster replay value. Better yet, Rush 2049's 4 stunt courses enable players to perfect outrageous tricks, like mid-air barrel rolls and flips. And, thanks to Rush 2049's tight responsive controls, you'll quickly master your vehicle's abilities both on the ground and in the air. As usual, hidden options such as extra vehicles, car parts, and levels are plentiful. Minor 49er? From obsessively detailed courses to slick futuristic cars, Rush 2049 sets new graphical standards for Nintendo 64 racers. Lucky expansion pack owners are also blessed with a luscious high-res display. Sadly, severe multiplayer slowdown and occasional scenery draw-in bump the graphic quality down a notch. On the sound front, Rush 2049 pumps out unobtrusive electronic beats, thunderous engine growls, and spine-rattling explosions. Rush 2049's adrenaline-soaked gameplay will thrill even jaded Nintendo 64 racing fans. It's hard not to break a sweat while soaring 200 feet above a bustling city intersection. Ultimately, Rush 2049 is a must-play racer, particularly for the Hydrant Thunder and Cruising World fans. Ratings: Graphics 4.5, Sound 4, Control 4.5, Fun Factor 4.5 out of 5. Army Man Sarge Heroes 2. In Sarge Heroes 2, the devious Stain Army revives slumbering General Plaster with a serum. Now, Green Hero Sarge and Vicky must complete 14 missions, trudging through encrusted ice freezers, cluttered bedrooms, and garish pinball machines. You'll be dogged by 10 troops, tanks, and a cerulean spy named Brigitte Blue, but you'll pack serious firepower, including shotguns, bazookas, and flamethrowers. Despite its expansive environments and detailed characters, the game's pokey frame rate often flakes out during heavy firefights. Sound-wise, you'll hear low-key background music, muffled gunshots, and Sarge's repetitive quips. As for controls, strafing and sniping is fine, but jumping puzzles are frustrating. This plastic ain't fantastic, but Sarge's Heroes 2 is still a worthy weekend distraction for third-person action fans. Graphics 4, Sound 3.5, Control 3.5, Fun Factor 3.5 out of 5. Now, I did say I was not gonna, mention our 60 minutes to sway results to avoid swaying things. But this was one of the lightning round games, so I feel like I hate talking about it. It is insane to me that they're giving this game 4 out of 5 in the graphics department. The game looks like dog shit. Like the faces of the characters and the hands of the characters are like the fucking roughest polygons that I've seen. And the slowdown is entirely inexcusable when each level is actually a pretty severely contained area. Like, I don't know what they were smoking. I guess what Vicious Sid was smoking specifically. Based on what I'm looking at, we got Extreme Ahab. I should start paying attention to these people that review the things. Lamb Chop, Major Mike, Dan Electro, Air Hendrix. These nicknames are absolutely terrible. But yeah. I get a vibe. Let's see what else Vicious Sid. Does Vicious Sid review anything? No. It feels to me like Vicious Sid is severely overrating a lot of these games. Now, maybe it's just that his taste and my taste do not agree, but I still think that this 4 out of 5 for graphics at Iron Man Surge Heroes 2 is a fucking travesty. And ranked. Moving on. Big Mountain 2000. Big Mountain 2000 aims to outperform long-reigning Nintendo 64 snowboarding champ 1080, but wipes out due to the lackluster visuals and slippery controls. In Time Attack and Championship modes, you race and bust tricks in several skiing and snowboarding events, including slalom and giant slalom courses. Sadly, big mountains, unnecessary stamina meter, and oversensitive controls force players to constantly monitor their speed, stripping the fun right out of the premise. Isn't this a racing game? Big Mountain paints gritty textures and simplistic athlete models. Course draw in and slow down are also irritating. Plus, you've experienced maddening synthesizer rock and repetitive grunts. Earmuffs might help you block the din. If you're a diehard fan of snowboarding and skiing, Big Mountain 2000 might be worth the rent. Otherwise, stick with 1080 and Twisted Edge. Graphics 3, sound 1.5, control 3, fun factor 2.5 out of 5. One thing I learned from last week's 60 Minutes to Sway, or I don't remember if it was last week but when we played SSX, is that yeah, maybe I'm just not into snowboarding games. Maybe they're just not the type of games for me. Alright, that is a wrap on the Nintendo 64 reviews. It is time now for the Dreamcast ones. Starting with Demolition Racer No Exit. Demolition Racer No Exit updates the Infogram PlayStation Crash 'em Up series for the Dreamcast, supplying a garage full of new options, tracks, and play modes. In short, No Exit turns what was simply a fun game into an addictive vehicular blast. Death from Above. Demolition Racer mixes the high-speed thrills of an auto race with the adrenaline-pumping full impact of a demolition derby. You speed through tracks vying for first place while attempting to inflict the most damage on your opponents. This kind of game has been done before, but it has never been as entertaining as No Exit. The core of the game is based on the PlayStation version, but No Exit contains 11 new tracks, 16 in all, and 14 new cars exclusive to the Dreamcast version. You run through 4 leagues, City, Country, Arena, and Industrial, to unlock new vehicles, tracks, and gameplay modes, such as Last Man Standing, Big Car Hunter, and No Exit. You also earn upgrades to increase your auto's performance. Other No Exit advances include power-ups, plus or minus points, TNT crates, turbo boosts, power drains, invulnerability, and even armor repair. These power-ups add a new level of strategy to the competitions and provide more to think about. Also new to this version is the T-Bone, a one-hit kill like Death from Above, which is accomplished by smashing at high speed into someone who is perpendicular to you. Hard hitting. Besides the fresh gameplay options, the latest Demolition Racer features updated graphics that includes impressive car models, awesome explosions and smoke effects, and gorgeously defined backgrounds, all moving at a smooth 60 frames per second. Plus, you'll notice detailed damage to your car throughout each race. The soundtrack mixes the crunching of steel and the squeal of tires with a kicking techno beat that never distracts from the action or the racetrack. Controls are very responsive, enabling you to take tight corners, evade your enemies, and hit your targets with deadly precision. They may defy a lot of physics, but the controls will always keep you in the race. Crashing through the finish line. Although the Dreamcast hasn't had many quality driving games, this is easily the most fun. Demolition Racer No Exit is a non-stop crash 'em up racing joy that will surely put you in the driver's seat. Graphics, 4.5 out of 5. Cool track design, impressive smoke and explosion effects, and detailed car models, all moving at a smooth 60 frames per second, make No Exit a visual treat. Sound, 4 out of 5. The techno tunes keep you in the driving mood, and the sound effects, from squealing tires to crunching metal, are all accurate. Controls, 4.5 out of 5. No Exit might not have the most realistic racing controls out there, but you'll have the responsiveness necessary to fend off opponents and do some serious fender bending. Fun factor, 5 out of 5. With its sharp graphics and tight controls, Demolition Racer No Exit is an addictive, ass-kicking racer that will keep you coming back for more. Looks like San Francisco Rush 2049 also released the same month for Dreamcast. The king of high-flying arcade racers returns with souped-up gameplay and a futuristic twist. San Francisco Rush 2049 delivers the excitement of the coin-op version almost entirely intact to the Dreamcast. Miner 2049er. Unlike most racing games, this one sports a plot. In the year 2049, a second gold rush hits California, transforming historic San Francisco into a high-tech paradise. All that new mining results in tons of tunnels and unusual pathways in, around, and under the city, which means plenty of hidden shortcuts for brave and crazy drivers on the game's 19 tracks. If flat-out speedruns aren't your thing, you can also search for the hidden coins scattered throughout, show off your best moves in the stunt mode, or hammer your pals in the weapons-laden 4-player battle match. Bay Area Rapid Transit. Rush 2049 features gorgeous, detailed graphics that easily rival its arcade counterparts and offer an unusually effective illusion of speed. The screen says you're doing 180, but it feels even faster. 60 frames per second with no pop-up definitely has an effect. Unfortunately, the game has much egregious modern-day advertising, which detracts from the otherwise futuristic atmosphere. The 13 cars are extremely customizable, while the user-definable controls are just as flexible. The hyper-techno soundtracks, revving engines, and crash explosions are crisp, but not all that spectacular. One notable perk: drivers can switch cars between races during a circuit tourney, a welcome option since track strategies vary. Factory options. The split-screen battle mode is a riot with friends, putting the car in carnage thanks to nasty weapons and violent games of hide-and-seek. The stunt mode is Midway's automated answer to Tony Hawk, giving gamers wild playgrounds, a pair of retractable wings, and points for tricks like spins, flips, and barrel rolls. There's also a link to the Rush website, which offers high scores and save games, but not actual online gameplay. In all, Rush 2049 comes home with a full tank. As in the real San Francisco, you'll have plenty of fun stuff to do, plenty of gorgeous sights to see, and plenty of lead-foot maniacs to encounter on the road. Take Rush for a spin. Graphics, 4.5 out of 5. They finally banish pop-up, and what annoying visual element takes its place? Billboards, and tons of them. At least the advertising is shoved down your throat along with some awesome scenery and a sky-high frame rate. Sound, 4 out of 5. It's the future, so there's gotta be futuristic music, and that means more generic techno. There's nothing wrong with that. The techno is crisp and clear, but like the OK engines and fine explosions, it's just there. That seems a harsh level for a 4 out of 5. It sounds more like a 3 out of 5, if you ask me, but... Control, 4 out of 5. Analog steering and a sensitive brake combine for a challenge, but these beasts can be tamed before long. Besides, you can tweak the controls to your heart's content. Fun factor, 4.5 out of 5. 4-player battle matches, a free will and stun mode, and all those groovy shortcuts and hidden icons make Rush 2049 an excellent model year. Make room in your Dreamcast garage. This one's an arcade seat keeper. Here we have an ad, thankfully just an ad, for Austin Powers, Welcome to My Underground Lair. This and Oh Behave are like straight up bad minigame collections, essentially. I'd be curious to actually check them out at some point, but yeah, they're like not good. Sega GT. Sega GT is a classic example of why copycat game design doesn't pay off. A shameless clone of Gran Turismo, it may at first appear to be the Dreamcast's detail-rich answer to the PlayStation champ. But when you pop the clutch, Sega GT fails to come even close to Turismo's thrilling magic. Like Turismo, this racer provides a bundle of cars that players use to earn licenses and win cups in other series. The options for tuning and adjusting your car seem infinite, and you can even build your own ride. But the gameplay never really gels. The lame AI cars don't provide engaging competition, and the loose controls are frustratingly touchy. The graphics and frame rate are fine, just not as sexy as the Dreamcast is capable of, but the sounds are pretty generic. All told, Sega GT isn't awful, it just plays like what it is, a pale imitation of a better game. Harsh. Graphics 3.5, sound 3, control 3, and fun factor 3 out of 5. Tokyo Extreme Racer 2. It's time again to flash your lights and race recklessly on Japan's complex freeway system in Tokyo Extreme Racer 2. With over 65 cars and more than 100 miles of concrete on which to battle 300 street punks, you'd think there'd be a lot to do. But there isn't. You drive in circles endlessly, running races that last about a minute. You accrue winnings to buy new vehicles and upgrades very slowly, making the game even more repetitive. The graphics are eye-catching and flashy, but there is some slowdown. Plus, the replay camera angles are bad, frequently moving through the car and track geometry. The combination of techno or electric guitar with the high-pitched whir of your engine is incredibly annoying. The controls are better than the first Tokyo Extreme Racers, but the autopilot, which takes you in and out of every race, is just plain dumb. It smacks you right into other vehicles. Tokyo Extreme Racer 2 improves on the original, but not enough to make this an engaging racer. Kids, don't try this at home. Graphics 4, Sound 2, controls 3.5, Fun Factor 2.5 out of 5. And finally, Cannon Spike. Old school shooter gameplay meets high-res 3D graphics in Capcom's Cannon Spike. You play either as some of your old favorites, Mega Man, Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, Cammy and Charlie from Street Fighter, BB Hood from Darkstalkers, or 2 new characters as you blast your way through 10 frenetic levels of robot, monster, ninja mayhem. The game's graphics are straight out of Power Stone and look very cool in that cartoon-like way, while the sound is typical Capcom silliness. With solid targeting and maneuverability, the controls are a breeze and give you plenty of attacks to choose from. Cannon Spike is very fun at first and challenging, depending on how you set the difficulty. But like all shooters, it becomes repetitive. Even the awesome gallery of Capcom, which slowly unlocks character art each time you solve the game, won't inspire return visits. Nevertheless, Cannon Spike is worth a rental for a weekend of thumb-numbing action shooting fun. Graphics 4, Sound 3.5, Controls 4.5, Fun Factor 4 out of 5. Shenmue 11/11/2000. SSX, launching October 2000 for PlayStation 2. Not a game for me. I'm sure it's great if you're into the genre, but boy did I not enjoy my time with it. Alright, and with that, we have concluded the sort of regular reviews. The sports review follow-up, and then after the sports section, which we'll probably skim more than we've done so far. There's just so many games, and I really don't care about, most of them. Then there's also the RPG area, and I can see why you would, split out the sport reviews, but I'm really not sure why the RPGs are their own thing. But anyway. Madden 2001 for PlayStation 2. Madden NFL 2001 loads up for a championship season. Just about now, some of you NFL football fans are probably ready to bench reality and take a long look at a good fantasy. Hello, Philadelphia. How's it, Arizona? EA Sports has a game for you. Madden Football 2001 for the PlayStation 2 has more glitz and glamour than the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Yes, you get all 31 teams, 50 NFL Hall of Famers, and every All-Madden team. You can also build your own fantasy franchise with trades and free agent signings, and you can even create your own players. Wait. 31 teams? Doesn't the NFL... Yeah, the NFL has 32 teams. So what was NFL last team to be added? Oh, the Houston Texans only were founded or expanded the following year. Oh, that's fascinating. All right. I did not know that. Cool. Okay, so an all-pro production. But let's face it, the first thing you'll notice about this game is the eye-popping PS2 pumped render 3D polygons that make players look as smooth as silk. When you see defensive linemen in a 4-point stance grab crawl when the line shifts, you're basically sold. And the TV-style close-ups and replays are so real, they're scary. When you stare into Eddie George's cage, you'll actually feel like Eddie is staring back. Of course, Madden and Summerall lead the strong audio charge. This game spats more Maddenisms than ever, plus it treats you to a heaping can full of on-field trash talk by the players and first-rate crowd noise that acknowledges the home team. Playmaker power. Madden Football made its rep with gameplay, and 2001 for the PS2 raises the bar on that tradition too. The AI receives an IQ upgrade, so defensive backs are noticeably smarter, which is good for your defense and bad for your offense. The brighter defensive backs also bring a nifty addition to the once again solid controls. Coverage audibles that enable you to position backs either loose on the receivers or in tight bump and run coverages. Very cool. Longtime Madden players may have mixed feelings about some of the other gameplay improvements. The quick but impossibly long skate juke enacted by ball carriers is now a more realistic looking but noticeably slower cut move. The game's kicking controls are much more accurate. You can now light up a field goal before the kick, but busting out of bounds coffin corner punts has become so incredibly easy that premier returners might as well consider retirement. Madden is a monster. EA Sports played it smart this time by making Madden NFL 2001 a football powerhouse as well as the first PS2 football game. Everyone else looking to score on Madden better come loaded for bear. Graphics, 5 out of 5. The intricately detailed players, slick TV production values, and refined animations are impressive. Madden NFL 2001 for the PS2 makes all the other Maddens look out of focus. It's scary to think that next year's version will likely look even better. Sound, 5 out of 5. Madden and Summerall make the game sound real, but now you get coaches' comments and on-field grunts too. Listening to John and Pat makes you realize just how far all Dan and Dennis have to go. Control, 5 out of 5. An already comprehensive and easy-to-use control scheme just got better. You can now set up the defensive backs independently and pinpoint passes to receivers with route-based passing. Kicking earns most improved kudos. Fun factor, 5 out of 5. Madden 2001's augmented AI is a tough nut to crack, but when you do, you can't turn it up another notch too. It's still a blast to lead your favorite NFL team to the Super Bowl. Pro tip. You can cheat the AI by watching it cycle through its offensive or defensive play selection screen before you select your plays. Pro tip. For some passing plays like the quick screen, you can gain more yardage by looking at a secondary receiver first. Here, the tight end is open downfield. Pro tip. The big name receivers will usually perform if you isolate them one-on-one with a defender. Pro tip. On 4th down and short, the odds are in your favor. If you use a quick hitting running play, like an HB plunge from the single back normal formation, an HB lead or an HB blast from the I form normal would work well too. Pro tip. If you suspect a fake punt, consider using a 4-3 base defense for punt returns. It foils fakes and sets up a decent blocking pattern for the return. Don't worry, the super quick safety snags any catchable punt. Pro tip. Assign teams with balanced run-to-pass offenses such as the LA Rams, the nickel under 2-man defense is a solid selection. Pro tip. Pin him down with punts by kicking out of bounds every time. With practice, you could just end up with no returns at all. The reason why I'm reading all these pro tips is that we will try to check out Madden 2001 in our 60 Minutes This Way Sports Edition. I feel like I owe it to myself to check it out, and also, this being the big PS2 game that was releasing in sports this month, we should check it out. I'm not gonna love it, I think, but I'm also curious to just hear what John Madden is like in the commentary booth. So. See, for example, NHL 2001, I don't know that I really care to. Let's read the review. I don't know if I'll play it, but we can at the very least read the review since it's one of the top games. NHL 2001 buries one in the PlayStation twine. After struggling for a few years, NHL 2001 storms back into the PlayStation ring for the second championship season. Minimal but exciting improvements on last year's game mean that hockey fans will find his eyes very familiar and very slick. He shoots, he scores! Can you tell that I've been watching Seinfeld? The biggest new feature in NHL 2001 is the momentum meter. If you kill a penalty, land a devastating check, and so on, your momentum builds. But injuries, goals against, and other blows drain the meter in a hurry. As in real hockey, your momentum noticeably affects how well your team plays, and the realistic, exciting feel that it lends to the pace really jacks up the fun factor. NHL 2001's other shiny new feature is its NHL Challenge, which gives you a checklist with tasks ranging from scoring a shorthanded goal to winning the Stanley Cup. Completing the challenges garners skill points that you can apply to your created players, making for a cool minigame within the game. As for the other features, NHL 2001 delivers all the pro players and teams, multi-season play, player and team creation, fighting trades, and more. It's all there. The excellent gameplay still snags the spotlight with its blistering checks, smarter AI, and loads of goals. While the game isn't a sim in the purest sense, it's realistic enough and packs plenty of high-octane thrills. Between the tight skating and passing, along with the awesome big hit and deke moves? D-E-K-E? I guess it's a term. Player will still find the sweetest controls on the ice. Biscuit in the basket. Visually, NHL 2001 pales in comparison to its superstar PS2 counterpart, but for a PlayStation game, it's a fine showing that includes a fluid frame rate and sharp animations, player models, and rinks. As for sounds, Jim Houston and Bill Clement returned to the broadcast booth with some well-detailed commentary that has a few too many uneven pauses. But the roar or boos of the crowd actually respond to your momentum, while the on-ice sound rocks. Lighting the lamp. If you're not a huge hockey fan, NHL 2001 is similar enough to its 2000 edition that you may be content with that version. For the hockey hardcore, the tuned AI and new features make NHL 2001 the only game in town. Graphics, 4.5 out of 5. For a PlayStation game, these visuals perform like a pro, featuring a clean frame rate, detailed rinks, and solid player models. Cool animations bring the hard-hitting checks and sprawling goalies to life. Sound, 4.5 out of 5. Strong audio keeps these rinks rocking with crowd cheers and jeers based on the game's momentum. The two-man commentary delivers lots of cool details, but the pacing is a little uneven at times. Controls, 5 out of 5. The best controls in PlayStation hockey return to the rink. An intuitive feel to the skating and passing keeps you in the game, while busting big hits and dekes will plaster a huge grain across your face. Okay, now I gotta figure out. Okay, let's finish this, but fun factor, 5 out of 5. NHL 2001 follows up last year's stellar season with another year of the PlayStation's best hockey. The improvements on the 2000 edition aren't sweeping, but if you're a hockey fan, you'll happily spring for a season ticket. The fuck is a deke? Deke. A deceptive movement or feint that induces an opponent to move out of position. They couldn't just call it a feint? They have to come up with their own hockey term for it? Fucking stupid. Let's see, what else do we have? Sydney 2000 looks bad, so let's read through Virtual Athlete 2000. Virtual Athlete 2000 finishes as a strong competitor on the Olympic gaming podium thanks to solid graphics and gameplay that put some other Olympic titles to shame. Virtual Athlete 2000 offers 7 events, including the 100-meter dash and high jump, and you can select athletes from any country or create your own. The characters and backgrounds are smoothly rendered, while audience applause adds a lot to the competitive excitement. As you might expect, gameplay involves button mashing the decent controls, but in events where you need to keep an eye on your stamina, such as the 1500-meter race, you'll also need to use the directional pad. Yep, there's more to this game than just smashing the red and yellow dots. The only fouls in Virtual Athlete 2000 are the fewer number of events and the cheesy generic commentator who informs you of such informative news as, "The event is finished, please look at the results." Though it doesn't score high in replay value, Virtual Athlete 2000 will help propel you into the Olympic mood. It's worth a rental for a weekend of competitive fun. Graphics 4, sound 4, control 3.5, fun factor 4 out of 5. This ad for Oni is cool. I believe that this is the first issue where they are reviewing PlayStation games. At least, it wouldn't make sense. I just find it fun that there's a bunch of ads, which, is probably a sign that despite the issue being dated November, it hit the shelves maybe sometime in October. Like, there's no way that, there were PS2 reviews in, 145. Yeah, no, there were a bunch of previews, it looks like. Um, sorry, and I got curious since I'm just looking at the previous issue. Cutting edge previews by. Oh yeah, there was a PS2 buyer's guide. So there was a list of all the launch PlayStation games here, but no actual reviews. Um, what else did they have? Sneak previews for the games that they reviewed this time. Let's get to the reviews. Oh, Mega Man Legends 2 was reviewed last issue. That's pretty cool. But yeah, no, they're reviewing Tenchu 2, Mega Man Legends 2. Those are like the ones at the front, so it clearly means that they're not reviewing anything that is PS2 based yet. Okay, yeah. Huh. So then when the heck did Oni come out? Because I wouldn't mind playing through that. I also just now realized that I can extend this a little bit. Wait, no, this is not helping. All right. Live adjustment. Okay, so I want to hit the top of the page and make sure that the bottom of the page still shows. Ah. Apologies for technical hiccups. No, it's this new stupid fucking Windows 11 garbage that they came up with. Alright, let's shift it down just a tad. And then shift it back up just a tad so we get to the bottom of the page. Alright. And let's make sure this is centered. Center to screen. Alright. Okay. I am not gonna read. It's a good game. Let's go and read this review too. NASCAR 2001 earns a PlayStation podium finish. The NASCAR series from EA Sports returns from another lap with NASCAR 2001, which roars up with authentic drivers and tracks and a new game engine under the hood. Aside from quirky sound options, the latest NASCAR earns a place in the top 5 of the racing circle. 2001 and NASCAR Odyssey. NASCAR 2001 rumbles in with 34 drivers, all playable, updated for the 2000 season. You can expect famous names like Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, and Terry Labonte. Yes. You can take your 750 horsepower ride on any of the 19 official NASCAR tracks, including Atlanta, California, and Las Vegas. The game also contains 5 fantasy courses to unlock, set in New York, San Francisco, Hawaii, Kansas, and Colorado. You can hop into a quick race, customize a season, or go through the entire NASCAR season to win the Great American Race at the Daytona 500. Options like damage, engine breakdown, and tweakable cars will keep simulations fan happy. Watch the paint job. The new game engine in NASCAR 2001 really pumps up the performance and gameplay, and 15 or even 20 laps around the track will still be exciting as you bump and grind into other cars for the number 1 spot. The controls are tight and realistic in true NASCAR form. Steer too much or too little at 170 plus miles per hour and you could careen off the track. Graphically, NASCAR 2001 performs solidly but not exceptionally. The graphics are comparable with those of last year's NASCAR, smooth with fast frame rates, and nice touches like sparks flying when you hit the walls or other vehicles will satisfy your bump and grind tendencies. The audio is a bit quirky. You turn on the music, you can listen to the commentary or your spotter, and vice versa, which is a real disappointment. You'll want to leave on the upbeat rock music rather than listen to generic commentary. Car 18 has just entered the top 10. Or your spotter's Jane jibes when you brush against the wall. You reckon you buy it. Taking on the leader. Ultimately, NASCAR 2001 for the PlayStation is a fast-paced racing game that should keep you glued to the track if you can overlook the sound issues. At the very least, a rental will get your adrenaline pumping for a weekend of true NASCAR competition fun. Graphics 4 out of 5. The graphics are as solid as in last year's NASCAR, featuring bright, detailed cars. Pop-up is almost non-existent, and fast frame rates create a great sense of speed. Sound 3.5 out of 5. You can choose to listen to upbeat rock music or the chatter of the commentator and your spotter, but not music and speech at the same time. Meanwhile, the rumbling of the throttle keeps things rolling. Control 4.5 out of 5. The controls are tight and realistic, which is great for a true NASCAR feel. You'll learn quickly what not to do when navigating a vehicle at 150 miles per hour. Fun factor 4.5 out of 5. If NASCAR racing is your thing, NASCAR 2001 is a solid game that fans will want in their collections. It should satisfy most, despite lackluster sound options. If you're a general racing fan, NASCAR 2001 is still worth renting. And then we have like a half column for poor Mario Tennis. The venerable plumber straps on his regulation blue overalls and joins his pal for Mario Tennis, a party-oriented game that's easy to pick up, hard to put down, and surprisingly realistic despite sluggish controls that limit your finesse to that of, say, a blue-suited plumber. Mario, insert user support here. In addition to Mario, many other Nintendo regulars have been practicing their backhand for their moment on the center court. Bowser, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Wario, and 10 others. Despite the cartoonish cast, even real-life tennis fans, rumors say they live in Utah, will appreciate the game's similarity to the real thing. In Mario Tennis, you can put mojo on the ball in the form of backspins, topspins, lobs, and fireworks-laden smashes. A love game means someone got badly whipped, and players cry and smash their rackets whenever they lose. It's deuce, plumber boy, not deusa. The Nintendo gang is cleanly rendered, and instant replays make you look like a superstar. Sound effects and music are standard Mario fare, though the Italian accented announcer is a nice touch. Best of all, the gameplay is so easy that anyone can pick up this game and have fun immediately. The controls can be sluggish and imprecise, however, which is especially evident against tough AI opponents. Luckily, precise controls isn't the key to the multiplayer game, the heart of Mario Tennis and its source of long-term value. Mario fans looking for a fun party game will do no better than Mario Tennis, while tennis fans who can bear the cuteness will enjoy the game's surprising depth and realism. I believe this is the first game that introduced Waluigi, so there's that too. Ratings, graphics 4, sound 4, controls 3.5, and fun factor 4 out of 5. So we got a NFL quarterback club for Dreamcast, but it doesn't sound great. Swing Away Golf for the PS2. Let's read this one. When new systems are launched, some first-generation titles set standards, while others fade from memory faster than Tiger Woods breaks records. The quintessentially forgettable Swing Away Golf takes a stab at cloning the success of Hot Shots Golf, but most gamers will be better off playing Hot Shots on their backward-compatible PS2. Sliced Swing. With adequate by-the-numbers arcade gameplay, Swing Away offers little that's worthy of note. Choosing from standard modes and options, players tee off with one of 7 kitty characters on 6 fantasy courses. The high point is a Gran Turismo-type story mode in which you play tournaments, building up your character and equipment. Even the course creator sounds cooler than it is. You pick from limited possibilities and the game spews out new holes without your involvement. Solid controls are Swing Away's only saving grace. Easy enough for amateurs, they're backed by the details like spins, draw, and so on that the pros will appreciate. Curl Away. Swing Away's real problem is that it drowns in its own cuteness. Nauseating sound will send you lunging for the mute button in a desperate attempt to escape the bubbly music. And the incredibly lame, repetitive comments from your caddies and partners will make you entertain thoughts of murder. Meanwhile, the decent graphics don't stretch the PS2 capabilities. The Dreamcast could handle these respectable courses and golfers without breaking a sweat. If you're looking for sexy next-gen gaming on your spanking new PS2, swing away, ain't it? Golfers might enjoy a rental if they can stomach all the cutesiness, but everyone else should hold out for greener fairways. This guy has an attitude problem. Like, ooh, cutesy, cutesy, it's cutesy. It's just like, bro, it's a golf game. Whatever. Who the fuck cares? Anyways, ratings. Graphics 3.5, sound 2. Clearly because of all the cutesiness. Control 4, fun factor 3.5 out of 5. NFL Blitz 2001, with an extra K in the title, in the bad copy, I guess, for Nintendo 64. Tired of playing by the rules? Midway's NFL Blitz 2001 scraps rules and regulations in favor of pro wrestling style sex and trash talk. While the bone crunching is as seductive as ever, Blitz 2001 adds only minor tweaks and features. If you're not a Blitz nut, sit out this game on the bench. NFL Blitzkrieg. As always, the Blitz series isn't concerned with the comprehensive strategies and zen-like gameplay of Madden. Though you can pull out a few sneaky stunts like fake punts, you'll usually resort to frenzied suicidal dashes and stiff-arm punches, which all perform decently with the satisfactory controls. Sadly, Blitz 2001 is the same old stagnating formula. An updated roster and a few playbook tweaks don't help. Even when using an expansion pack, Blitz 2001 scarcely looks better than last year's entry. Though the skull-cracking tackle animations, including power bombs, body slams, and clothesline, look as painful as ever, the player models are blocky and featureless. Blitz 2001 doesn't impress on the sound front either, offering sparse, repetitive commentary and teeny background tunes. Textbook play. As in past entries, Blitz 2001 includes arcade, season, and tournament modes, plus a welcome playbook editor feature. 3 new party games are also featured: Quarterback Challenge, Goal Line Stand, and First and Goals Frenzy. Yet these frail minigames do little to extend Blitz 2001's meager single-player value. Blitz truly shines only when played with friends. Clearly, the Blitz series is in dire need of a top-to-bottom makeover. Though the Roddy Pigskin meets WWF formula oozes potential, this year's edition barely limps onto the field. As it stands, Blitz 2001 is only a second-string effort. Save your cash for Madden. Very negative review, right? It's just like, yeah, no, it's not a good game. Don't buy it unless you're like deep into it. And then the scores: graphics 3.5, sound 3.5, control 4, fun factor 3.5 out of 5. Vicious Sid, man, like, you know, you can give bad grades to things, right? I guess they probably didn't at the time, but yeah, you can actually just give bad grades to things. Fucking like 2 more, like 4, 3.5, 3.5 on Jerry LeBon stock car racing, which I'm sure is fine. ESPN MLS Game Night 4, like whatever. Okay, we're already reading too many sports games. I'm not gonna play most of these really. I will definitely check out NFL Blitz just because I've always been curious about this type of game. Mario Tennis, Madden NFL 2001. Probably do a lightning round with Virtual Athlete 2000. Maybe check out NHL 2001 as well. But otherwise, I think that's we're gonna try to limit our sports involvement because I'm just not a sports game guy. And I will send you back to our time playing Madden for the 1997 PlayStation lineup to show you why that's the case. We do have a preview in the sports area for Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. Ready for the next round. Midway is bringing back Ready to Rumble Boxing for a second round of fisticuffs and tomfoolery. Excuse me. Again, hitting all the consoles and even adding the knockout punch of a PlayStation 2 version. One of the surprise hits of the Dreamcast launch in the September of '99, Ready to Rumble Boxing created rabid fans with its contagious combination of cartoony graphics and furious fighting fun that resulted in some of the most addictive virtual boxing since Mike Tyson's Punch-Out on the NES. Celebrity Punch-Out. All 11 fighters will return for Round 2 with new flashy duds. Plus, Round 2 will arrive with 12 new and even wackier pugilists, including celebrity fighters Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jackson, and a few other special guests who have yet to be seen to be believed. Also new to the sequel will be a tournament mode to raise that friendly level of competition you have with your buddies. In the PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast preview versions, the graphics look sharp, like in the first game, but with more ornate costumes and animations. Both systems exhibited surprisingly similar graphics, but the increased horsepower of the PS2 showed in the backgrounds and additional characters. Boxing action was fast and easy as in the original, but some quicker and meaner combos have been added to the old characters to punch up the action a bit. There will also be 3 levels of rumble flurries to attain and unleash on your opponents. Rumblin', bumblin', stumblin'. Although the preview versions were a bit buggy, they did show the premise of a solid sequel to an entertaining game. Though Midway might be going too far with the silliness of the character choices and costume designs, which included a cross-dressing sumo wrestler and a robot. But as long as the sequel delivers the same quality of gameplay as the first did, Midway's latest fantasy sports franchise should last a solid 14 rounds. Note, all screens shown here are from the Dreamcast version. Then we also have a preview for NBA Live 2001. Now, a basketball game I would love to try and play, but not this month, it looks like. Hoop Streams. EA Sports Hoops Dynasty rolls on, and the PlayStation owners should be very happy with the new model. NBA Live 2001 is driving down court to continue its tradition of realism while delivering more of the extras that hardcore fans desire, such as the very cool one-on-one with Michael Jordan. I guess I'm gonna go to No Bricklayers Allowed? Yes. No Bricklayers Allowed. As part of EA's continuing efforts to perfect realistic play on the basketball court, this year's Live will yield improved post moves and animations for the instant game, better speech and sound effects, as well as new in-game transition sequences just like the ones on TV. You'll see players arguing with a referee, congratulating one another on court, or just cheering like mad from the bench. NBA Live will also support new gameplay challenges that give you extra objectives to complete while playing a game. They'll begin with simple stuff like win by 10 or get a triple-double, then advance to hard stuff like sweeping through road trips or having your creative player win the MVP. You'll earn points that go towards selecting from a huge inventory of rewards, including creative player options. Just winning the game won't be enough anymore. Keep your hands on the ball. The preview version of NBA Live 2001 played as smooth as Iverson's crossover, and the new transitions gave the game a very realistic presentation. Graphically, you'll be able to tell that the PlayStation is getting old, but it won't hamper the gameplay. For the PlayStation, Live 2001 performed solidly. Commentary was on the money, and the controls felt as responsive as ever. Unless something goes terribly wrong, NBA Live 2001 looks to win the finals again this year, with another all-star team taking the court. And, I guess, so these are the PS2 versions of NHL 2001 and NASCAR 2001. So I'm actually happy that we read those reviews, because I did not remember that these actually were popping. NHL 2001 for the PS2. Holy hat trick! If you're at all a hockey fan, NHL 2001 for the PS2 looks like it's practically... NHL 2001. Holy hat trick! If you're at all a hockey fan, NHL 2001 for the PS2 looks like it'll practically be a religious experience. In the preview versions, the thrills came from jaw-dropping graphics, which were backed by the exciting gameplay that has made the series a perennial favorite since the Genesis days. Slick cutscenes, like players having tantrums in a penalty box, were matched with amazingly detailed, fluid animations, like wingers jostling for a position during face-offs. Players even got into each other's face, shoving, tussling, and otherwise getting your adrenaline flowing before the fight. On the feature side, NHL 2001 will have the standard moves, players, and more, plus a new momentum meter that tracks the ups and downs of the action, and affects your team's performance accordingly. As for gameplay and controls, the preview version still needed that final polish, but EA has plenty of time to add that before the game's released. If you're one of the lucky few with a PS2 pre-order, keep an eye out for NHL 2001. It might just turn out to be the best hockey game ever. NASCAR 2001 for PS2. NASCAR 2001 may be gearing up for its rookie season on the PS2, but EA's years of pro experience were already shining through in the preview version. Right from the start, racing fans will be impressed by the horizon. You could see forever down the track, which definitely heightened the game's realism and excitement. Better yet, lots of cars always surrounded you on the ovals, creating a strong sense of battling through the pack in a way that less powerful PlayStation games couldn't. Naturally, the car models were already spectacular, and even the crew chief's radio chatter was impressive, keeping up with the details of your opponents and their position in startlingly detail. The controls were smooth and comfortable too, as the vehicles rated paint on 12 real-life tracks, ranging from Daytona to Watkins Glen, with 34 pro drivers. As long as EA stays the course in the final weeks of development, NASCAR 2001 looks like it'll be an exciting race. I don't know what kind of game this Dragon Valor is, but it looks pretty dope, I gotta be honest. And sports continues. NBA Shootout 2001. This one is for the PlayStation. 989 Sports NBA Shootout 2001 hits the court with redesigned gameplay and even more realistic graphics than last year's model. But will it be enough to dethrone NBA Live 2001? 989 has included more than 400 motion captured animations in the new Shootout, from NBA stars like Jason Kidd, Trajan Langdon, and Paul Pierce, and they look very sharp. The preview version of Shootout showed off smooth-moving players and particularly impressive player models in arenas. Controls were very tight, allowing for more precise maneuvering. Touch shooting and creative dunk options will still be there for the 989 faithfuls. The improvements, along with smarter AI, could really push this title to the next level. It's going to be tough to challenge Live for the Virtual Hoops title, but NBA Shootout 2001 may just have the goods to compete this fall. Yeah, this was the thing that, back in the day, multiple people used to make sports games. Like these days, Sony does MLB The Show, 2K does the NBA 2K series, EA, of course, does Madden. NHL games, I don't know what those are yearly these days. I think there are more like blips every once in a while, which in a way is funny to think about. So, there's just like one big name player that publishes on all platforms. But back in the day, PlayStation had its own studios making games for its consoles. Sega had its own studios making games for its consoles. The 2K games were a little bit all over the place. EA, of course, had all of its series. And, in a way, competition breeds innovation, right? Things were better when the licenses were given to multiple people and you had to make the best game to come out on top. The reason why all that microtransaction bullshit in NBA 2K is happening is that there is no other basketball games that exist out there, and still fans can go, oh, I want to play a basketball game, but this one is super predatory, so fuck that. I'm gonna go with the alternative. There's no alternative. And 99 Sports, I think, was I believe the same studio that did those NFL games that we played through in the 97 version. But it's a PlayStation internal studio that was developing sports games. Speaking of which, they also developed NCAA Final Four 2001. The overhaul of 99 Sports basketball line continues as 99 dishes out a brand spanking new version of NCAA Final Four 2001. As it did with its pro counterpart NBA Shootout, 99 has vastly improved the gameplay in Final Four, including increased smarts for computer defenders. The ball and rim physics have also been enhanced for more realism. Each team has its own specific playbook, so you'll be able to put on all kinds of full court pressure defense, just like your favorite team. And of course, Quinn Buckner will be back doing the play-by-play and giving you all the game info. The preview version of Final Four definitely showed great improvement over last year's in terms of both graphics and gameplay, but it still had ways to go. Because EA Sports March Madness was a powerhouse last year, NCAA Final Four 2001 will need a Cinderella season to go all the way this year. Throwing in like college basketball references in there. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I never played the Donald Duck Going Quackers game. I bet it's fine, and it's actually probably, it's like a fun afternoon activity kind of thing. I bet. Itamus Maximus Pocamus. So fucking stupid. Summoner, an epic fantasy RPG for PlayStation 2. Oh, and I guess that is. Excuse me. That is the end of the sports review and preview section. So we are now moving on to the role player's realm, which is the RPG game reviews. Starting with one of the PS2 launch titles, Eternal Ring. Gamers itching to begin their long-term relationships with the PlayStation 2 will get some satisfaction with Eternal Ring. This great-looking, awesome-sounding action RPG presents a compelling adventure story, a challenging, danger-filled fantasy world, and a very cool ring-based spell system. Island of No Return. Ring's storyline definitely mixes mystery and adventure. Via first-person perspective, you play as Kane, a royal agent sent to the island of Solcia to check up on a research team's search for a lost civilization. However, an insane zoo of monsters, mystic creatures, and dragons has overrun Solcia. The team is not too happy about this, but they aren't telling Kane everything they suspect either. Eternal Ring makes great use of the PS2's audio and visual muscle to move the story along. The cinemas are eye-popping, while the creature designs and environments are original and finely textured. The special effects put on a sometimes dazzling display. The audio takes full advantage of the DVD with top-notch character voices, crisp dialogue, and lively mood-setting music. If you don headphones, some effects will even creep you out. Rings and Things. As Kane, you attempt to unravel the research team's secrets. You can swing weapons and cast spells with magic rings, and both skills are powered by the usual HPMP system. Crisp controls and excellent tuned inventory system makes managing items, hardware, and magic a snap. Mastering the magic rings is a cool strategy all its own. Defeating monsters reveals gems of various types and power levels. You have to become a sort of mystic jeweler as you slowly figure out gem combos for attack spells, like fireballs and wind turbulence, or healing spells to restore your health. On the other hand, the swordplay is pretty standard stuff, limited to simple jabs and running around slow-moving enemies. Most evil creatures move in low gear and telegraph their punches, but make up for a lack of foot speed by ganging up on you. Hope Springs Eternal. The hype surrounding the PS2 created major expectations for some ripping RPG action. As one of the first games out, Eternal Ring comes through with entertaining challenges and top-notch features that portend great things to come. Graphics 4.5 out of 5. Bizarre character designs, lush scenery, and wondrous visual effects are razor-sharp and excellently detailed. The cinemas have an impressive movie-like feel. Many creatures, however, move very slowly during hand-to-hand fighting. Sound 5 out of 5. The DVD audio rocks. The excellent voice acting and articulate dialogue actually help the story flow and bring the characters to life. The music and effects are impressively tuned to the changing moods and game situations. Control 4 out of 5. 10 directionals make movement effortless, while using the organized inventory system is a breeze. Accurately aiming skills, however, is an acquired skill, especially during combat, and oddly, there is no analog joystick control. Fun factor 4 out of 5. The spellbinding story casts a formidable mix of mystery, danger, and discovery. Crafting magic rings is creative and fun. Despite the simplistic and pokey sword fighting, Eternal rings true. So I've played a little bit of this game, just for fun, and partly because this is actually a FromSoft game. From Software before, I mean, in a way, it was always doing, like, the Dark Souls bullshit, let's call it what it is. I love Dark Souls, but, some of it is purposely bullshit. It was doing it like since the very beginning with all the Kingsfield games and Shadow Tower, I want to say. Um, and the truth is, um, this is a fine game. It's not one of the best. It does not deserve. I mean, graphics and sound at launch of the PS2, sure. I don't know that it deserves like a four and fun factor. From what I've experienced and what I've read, it tends to be very repetitive, and the magic system kind of lacks control and direction, and can get easily like burst apart once you get the correct combination of rings. But there's also no way in game, I think, to keep track of which rings you're building. So it's a mixed bag. Like the magic system is maybe overpowered, but also not very fun to engage with. And the combat feels, as they were saying, maybe a little stale and samey, where you kind of just circle strafe around enemies. But still, pretty excited to play an hour of it for our 60 minutes to sway. Ogre Battle 64 for Nintendo 64, of course. Boasting 3 scenarios, 35 unique battles, and a branching plot, Ogre Battle 64 practically overflows with gameplay possibilities. While Ogre Battle 64's comprehensive strategy RPG combo may captivate veteran gamers, the complex control scheme will leave novice players in the dust. Ye Olde Art of War. All is not well in the land of Palatinus. While the noble upper class lives in luxury, the lower class subjects live in impoverished misery. Playing as Magnus Gallant, a recent military academy graduate, players will determine the fate of Palatinus. Will you banish or aid the corrupt Holy Lotus Empire? In Ogre Battle 64, the choice is yours. During the game, you liberate strongholds, storm enemy units, and protect friendly bases. As you progress, your tactics, skills, and resources and responsibilities grow. And that's where strategy comes into play. You'll need to assign your paltry forces efficiently, dividing tasks and resources among friendly units. Even combat scenes require careful planning, and because fighting is completely automated, unit formation and strategy are critical. Sadly, Ogre Battle 64 utilizes a needlessly convoluted menu system for game commands. Even saving and loading games is a frustrating chore. Plus, while the interactive tutorial mode adequately explains basic rules and commands, the manual is still required reading. Once you master the demanding controls, however, the in-depth gameplay truly starts to shine. Uphill Battle. Ogre Battle 64 focuses slowly on strategy, not flashy visuals. The rich pre-rendered environments and realistic real-time lighting effects are snazzy, but the sprite-based characters look downright primitive in comparison. Low-key sound effects and repetitive music round out the meager Sonic offering. Beneath Ogre Battle 64's intimidating interface and plodding pace lies a wealth of strategy. If you choose to enlist, be sure to pack plenty of patience. So, I thought this was more of a tactics game, but I guess that's not the case, huh? Oh, but ratings, sorry. Graphics 3.5, sound 3, controls 3, fun factor 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, I thought this was more of like a Final Fantasy Tactics type of game, but I guess that's... Just because I see Ogre, my mind lumps them all together, but I think Ogre Battle and Tactics Ogre are very different types of games, huh? Alright. And then, last but not least, in terms of the reviews, we have D2 for Dreamcast. Developer Warp is back with a new take on its old creepy game, D2. The sequel experiments with mixing genres, but ultimately just makes a mess. D2 opens with long cinema where Laura, the heroine from D and Enemy Zero, survives a plane crash. The game then continues through a whopping 4 CD adventure, which, like its predecessors, slowly leads to mysterious clues that build up a spine-tingling supernatural story. D2 mixes in lots of action, in first-person perspective battles featuring countless nasty monsters, with character development and puzzle solving. Unfortunately, the game's controls are inaccurate, resulting in battles that are frustrating to fight. The graphics are very impressive, but, like Blue Stinger before, leap movements are painfully out of sync with the English dialogue. The rest of the soundtrack is a subtle mix of eerie music and environmental effects. D2 fails to match its different types of gameplay, action, horror, RPG, not delivering the freedom of exploration of the intensity of something like Shenmue, which you have not reviewed yet. There's no way they've reviewed Shenmue already. Where's the Shenmue review? Shenmue 92. I think it's in the next issue. Not even. There's a preview in the next issue. So, 2 issues from this one. Is that when they are going to be reviewing it? Shenmue. There is no Shenmue in this issue. The fuck? Oh, no, sorry. I don't have issue 148. Let me actually just find this one very quickly. Yeah, that is so weird. I don't know why I had one issue missing in my digital collection. But yeah, no, it's 2 issues from now is when they will actually review Shenmue. So I don't know why they're talking about Shenmue as if they've already played it. Um, anyways, graphics 4, sound 3.5, controls 2, fun factor 3 out of 5. I'm curious because I've always heard about this series. So I guess we'll see what it looks like and how it feels like. And then we got a big ass preview here. Final Fantasy IX. Share the fantasy. An English language version of Final Fantasy IX has finally graced our offices, and based on a few hours of play, it's safe to say that RPGers should have their hands full when this 4-disc monster hits the shelves. Final Fantasy IX is a throwback to earlier Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy VI, with cutesy characters and an easy-to-follow storyline. FF9 explores the exploits of a group of bandits who cross paths with an evil queen, but it's just the cover story for a series of events that span love, betrayal, honor, in short, all the qualities you've come to expect from a Final Fantasy game. A kinder, gentler fantasy? The preview version revealed that Final Fantasy IX's graphics are a far cry from those in Final Fantasy VII and VIII. The pint-sized characters were imbued with excellent, if distorted, details, but had more of a super deformed slant and lacked the hard-edge appearance of those in Final Fantasy VIII. There was also an abundance of exaggerated physical action and side gag humor, such as characters who were sent into a topspin when passed by someone running at high speed, while on-screen conversations featured text dialogue accompanied by jerky body movements. All the action took place against stunning pre-rendered backgrounds, however, that brought the imaginative locales to life. Audio-wise, the soundtrack contained rousing battle music along with a colorful assortment of clashes, zings, and other effects. Sturdy controls. Final Fantasy IX's simple control scheme kept the various menus and character actions in firm command. Similar to previous fantasies, battles took place in turn-based contests with a variety of spells, weapons, and items at your disposal. One intriguing gameplay feature is the active time event. During gameplay, when these 3 words appeared at the bottom of the screen, you had the option of seeing other key narrative events that were occurring at the same time, which gave the story a wide variety of side events. Enough preview foreplay. Check out the December issue of Gamepro for a full review of this latest chapter in the Final Fantasy series. I'm going to assume that this preview had only played through, like, the Haunted Forest part of the game. Now, the complaint about the art style is, of course, absolute fucking bullshit. This game is gorgeous. And also, Final Fantasy VII fucking also had, like, super deformed characters. That's just the style. the art style of this game and the way this game looks is so much fucking better than Final Fantasy VIII. It's not even a contest. So, fuck them for that. Um, I will excuse what they said about the story. Uh, really just because, if this is just a preview version, they haven't played it through the full thing, so it seems a little silly to me to try and commenting on the depth of the story at this stage. Um, Whereas if they have played through the whole thing, well, then they clearly did not pay attention because the story of Final Fantasy IX is actually pretty deep with twists and turns and issues of self and there's deep stuff happening there. So hardly disagree with their take. And then we have a couple of PS2 RPGs. It looks like we got Summoner. At the launch of the PlayStation, as the launch of the PlayStation 2 draws near, THQ's Summoner continues to impress both with its graphics and its gameplay. The gang at Volition is working hard to balance the immense graphical world of Summoner with a deep, detailed story. An updated preview version of the game showed a little more fine-tuning had been done to the battle controls, including a visual cue that gives you a better chance of chaining more hits consecutively. The game's storyline is being pieced together with in-game cinemas and dialogues featuring hundreds of characters. So far, Summoner begins with a town in ruin and Joseph, the beleaguered hero who is left behind to pick up the pieces. He soon becomes entwined in a battle of warring nations, and it will be up to him and party members Fles, Rosalind, and Jekkar to stop this conflict from destroying everything. Summoner is drawing aspects from both console and PC RPGs and should result in a very interesting title for the PlayStation 2. Now, I don't know if Volition just got overtaken by its Saints Row success, but I've never heard of this game. And I'm going to go ahead and save myself the suspense and sort of see whether this game was well received or not. It was fine. Some people hated it. Most people were just like, "Meh." Okay. So that's the reason why I have never heard of it as being a Volition game. Orphan. Still for PS2, developed by Katakawa and published by Activision. Activision is heating up the RPG scene for the PlayStation 2 by pushing up the release date of Orphan, based on the popular Japanese anime series. Never heard of it. From 2001 to this November. Orphan will be an action-oriented, party-based RPG filled with anime-style animated cinemas and in-game cutscenes designed to move the story along. The preview version showcased flashy effects and impressive environments, along with puzzle-solving and intense real-time battle action that included weapons, spells, and elemental attacks. The unique battle system counted on good timing and gave you the option of playing offensively or defensively, depending on the powers chosen. The characters nicely earned their 3D versions of the 2D TV Toon counterparts, and storyline were quirky indeed, keeping faithful to the series. After all the goofy dialogue is finally translated into English for the US release, Orphan's gameplay and graphics should provide a thrill for role-playing gamers this fall. Look at that. This is yet another game by From Software. This one is called Evergrace and looks maybe more action-y. I bet next issue we'll get a couple of these. Alright, and that finishes the RPG corner. I don't think there's much else for us to read in here. There's a pro strategy guide for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. It's nice that they give you like the tricks, basic advice, and then where to find like the basically how to beat the objectives for each level. Never been much of a Tony Hawk guy, except for like Underground 2 of all things, which I think means I'm not a Tony Hawk guy, which is also what I realized when playing through the One Plus Two remaster. But and then we have a walkthrough for Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. Um, I will say what I said last time. This game kind of looks dope. It feels like it looks like a Metroidvania of sorts. I might need to check it out. I will look into it and maybe this is one that we can play for our Hidden Gems series. Um, oh yes, I remember we had gone through this ad the first time I recorded this, but let's do it again. Put it to the test. Be honest. You already know the right answers. Find out why smoking's not for you, no matter who you are. Number one. If they cancel school for a day, what would you do? Read your favorite book, play sports, help around the house, go out with your friends. Alright, so don't wanna okay, so I'm trying to go back to 13-year-old me. The answer that would be fucking A, read your favorite book. That's what Nick would say. Two, what's your favorite music? Um, I wasn't really listening to music at the time. So based on how my taste evolved, I will say love songs, ballads. If you could make your dreams come true, you'd be the world champion of your favorite sport, be voted most popular in school, work at a space center, get a date with the cutest girl and guy in class. Yeah, that would be D with a bullet for sure. For a party, you put on something original and wild, even if it doesn't look that great. The latest fashions. Something classic. It's better to be safe than sorry. Something like what your friends are gonna wear. I'll probably. I mean, I did not. Again, I did not have style at the time, so let's go with C. Something classic. Your favorite kind of movie is romance, comedy, action, adventure, horror. Definitely comedy. Okay, so we picked ADDCB. ADDCB. So we got 7 points. Results 5 to 8 points. You're sensitive and responsible. You know what you want and you have drive. Why blow it with a cigarette? Smoking's not going to help you get anywhere you want to go. This is definitely, and there's like copyright Philip Morris everywhere. Um, this is definitely a result of a lawsuit that Philip Morris got, and it forced them to advertise smoking prevention to kids. Which, in a way, fucking only in America, right? Um, then we got controls for the UFC game on Dreamcast, like combos and shit, which whatever. And these are tips and tricks. I don't know. None of these are games we're gonna be playing anytime soon. So yeah, I don't see anything worth it here. Game share codes for Code Veronica. Index of advertisers. Oh, the Blockbuster Video Hot Rentals. For PlayStation, number one, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Number two, Dino Crisis 2, which we're currently reviewing. Number 3, Spider-Man. Number 4, Duke Nukem, Land of the Babes. Um, Madden, NFL stuff, apparently. Parasite Eve 2 also out at this time. For Nintendo 64, most of these are sad games. Like, we'll play Mario Tennis, and I'm sure it's fine, but Pokemon Puzzle League, actually, I think I remember it being a lot better than you'd expect, but at the same time, it's just one of those, like, Tetris-ish puzzle games, and it's like, meh. Iron Man Surge's Heroes 2 should belong on a rental list and should also belong in the trash. Kirby 64, Crystal Shards, it's nice to see there. That's the one good game. Coming next issue, Medal of Honor Underground. Tips? Question mark? The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Review? Dino Crisis 2. Tips? Smuggler's Run. Review? And then GamePro Pro review, Final Fantasy IX. Alright, and that concludes. Ooh, sorry. I totally had to yawn there. That concludes our read through of this issue of GamePro. It was definitely let me actually just keep the review up so there's something more interesting to look at. I had a good time reading through it. I'm having a good time like playing through the games that are covered. I like that it's very generic. At the same time, it maybe reviews too many games. I am excited to get back to this sort of timeline in our required reading. Granted, it will probably take something like fucking 8 months before we're back here. But yeah, it's sort of nice. Again, like this year between like November 2000 to December 2001 is insane for all the stuff that comes out. GameCube, Game Boy Advance, PS2, Xbox, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, Zelda Majora's Mask, Shenmue. So many fucking like gigantic games. It is probably one of like the best stretches in terms of the general video gaming era. And I'm not even considering thinking about PC. Like Warcraft 3 comes around this time. Um, does it? I think in the summer 2000. No, maybe it's summer 2002. Maybe I'm thinking summer 2002. But there's so many fucking good games, and I'm really excited to explore through them like 1 month at a time, one issue at a time, and also maybe discover some things that I never learned of or thought about, and it turns out are pretty cool games. Like I was very impressed by what was his name, X Squad, I think, which gets like this all fucking Baldur's Gate 2 is coming out of this year. Like, this is insane. Um, where is it? Where is it? These are all stupid previews. Um, X Squad. Yes, there we go. Um, this was very fun. Like, it wouldn't win Game of the Year anywhere, but I had a really good time just playing through it. And so, this is ultimately also why I'm doing this, just to discover games that I'm like, oh wow, this is very cool. Or at the same time, to play through games and go like, yeah, I stayed off of the S6 series for my whole life, and it's probably a good thing because I would not have liked it. So, but anyway, this will wrap up required reading for this issue. Um, in 2 weeks, we will come back and start to play through a bunch of 60 Minutes This Way episodes. At this time, the plan is to do one episode on the four PlayStation games that were reviewed, or the PlayStation games that were reviewed, generally speaking. One episode combining the Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast reviews, one on the sports section, and then one on the RPG section. So that's gonna keep us busy for like the next 2 months. But again, very excited to check out a lot of these games. Other things coming up, Life of Timmy, of course, continues. It is my pride and joy. I really appreciate you taking the time to go and check it out if you haven't. Leave it a like, leave a little comment, let me know what you think of it. I spent so much time preparing those episodes, and I appreciate the feedback that I'm getting from the audience. In terms of our Friday postings, we are currently, let me check the calendar. This week we're going to finish Croc. Um, Speaking of games that we discovered, Croc, very, very fun. Not the best game, but had a very good time playing through it. Our Morrowind playthrough has started and is going to continue next week, and I will ask you to bear with me for episode 2. I kind of let all of my frustration with the bad parts of Morrowind out of there. By episode 3, I swear to you, I start loving this game like I've never loved the game before. So it's worth it. Keep at it. But yeah, Morrowind, fantastic game. Brand new hidden gem previewing in 2 weeks or starting in 2 weeks, which is sort of paying off an old debt. And then finishing off Riven the week after that. So plenty of fun, exciting stuff happening on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This is Nick signing off, reminding everyone to let's keep retro playing together.